Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Huh? So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
Entertainment Group presents the Madness Comic Network with original programming and additional comic-related content.
Hey, we want to shout out to our sponsors, Daytona Beach Comic Con. If you are a fan of comic books, if you're a fan of comic book conventions, and if you like meeting comic book creators and getting comics and comic-related stuff, then you need to make your plans to attend Daytona Beach Comic Con. This year's show is September 7th and 8th. Silverline will be there, so you should make your plans to be there too. We'll see you there. If you like comics and find yourself in the Orlando, Florida area, doesn't everyone come to Orlando at some point in time to see the House of Mouse? But when you're here, you need to make it a point to visit Coliseum of Comics, especially the one on East Colonial Drive. They carry Silverline Comics, even a limited edition Coliseum of Comics version of our comics. So, when you go, be sure to ask for Silverline Comics and tell them we sent you. OCD stands for Orlando Collector Deviants. OCD, Steve and Trish, they're a family of geeks who promote geek things, particularly those around the Orlando, Florida area. They're big supporters of Silverline, and we think you should be supporters of theirs too. Go give them some love. If you are an independent comic book maker and you need to get your independent comics made, you need to look no further than Kablam Digital Printing. They print our books, and they do a bang-up job. They're not only trusted by Silverline, but many, many independent comic book makers. Head on over to kablam.com and see for yourself just how easy it is to have your comic printed by them. And tell them Silverline sent you.
Hi, this is Tim TK, host of That Silverline Show on Tuesday. Join us at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Tuesday night as we discuss pop culture and the joys of making comics.
Hi, I'm Barb Kilber, co-host of Silverline's Wednesday Wham. Join us each Wednesday nights as we discuss comics, literature, movies, and anything else that may catch our attention.
I'm Roland Mann, and I host Silverline's Silver Sunday. Join me every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern as we make mine Silverline.
Creating beyond calculation, beyond politics, beyond the big two. Welcome, Silverliners, to the wonderful world of Wednesday Wham. I'm your host, Dean Zachary, and we're joined tonight by Barbara Kailberg, the Empress of the Inks, Rob Davis, the Paragon of Pencils, and one of the wizards of wordplay, Rory Boyle. Welcome, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Excellent. Doing
good. We actually
good.
have a little cooler weather tonight, which is a nice change of pace.
Yeah, it is nice.
I wish.
Yes, I've seen it all over the rest of the country. We're in this little pocket of coolness here in Wisconsin,
that's nice.
Which it hasn't been, and it's going tomorrow. It'll be miserable again, but just for today.
The rest of us are tap dancing on the surface of the sun. And speaking of hot, we're going to be talking about hot covers tonight, and specifically hot Silverline covers. And we are going to be focusing on our individual favorites and those that some of us have actually had an active part in creating, and also just discussing why we like them, what's compelling about them, because as the old saying goes, you can't tell a book by its cover, but boy, does it make you want to pick it up and look at it if it's a comic book cover you like. So there's no doubt, no argument that in the crowded world of selling books and comic books specifically, a good cover will get it sold, even if the interior is not as good. So
like artwork on craft beers makes you want to buy
it. Right. I mean, we've all been stung by people. Wow, look at this. Oh, wow, the inside's not quite like the cover, and sometimes that's the case. But we pride ourselves here at Silverline in delivering both exterior and interior excellence. So we have we're actually going to be viewing the covers as we talk about them tonight. Barb has a screen sharing ability tonight, and she's going to be allowing us to scroll through our favorite covers, and I'm adding that. There we are. We're going to start with this is Trump's number 2, and this is just a gorgeous cover. Give us the credits on this, Barb, as you share that, because
this was penciled by Alex Sarabia.
Okay.
And inked by me. And
Terrific.
I'm not sure which of our wonderful colorists did the coloring on this, but not me.
Okay. Okay. In any event, this is a beautiful cover. It's what we call an action cover. This is taking a scene that may or may not be in the content of the story itself, but it's an action scene. These are traditional designs for superhero titles, and this definitely qualifies as a sci-fi / action superhero title. I think the colors work, the action work, the poses work. I actually like action covers.
I do too. I mean, I like them when there's always going to be the covers which are posed, to be dramatic.
Yes. Sure.
And those are great too. I enjoy those because they're very dramatic and forceful. But the ones that actually have action happening on the screen shows motion and motion and emotion. Like this one, look at
Nice.
You can see the rage on their faces, and it's got a nice dichotomy between the red and the green.
Yes.
So it shows the two opposing forces.
I want to also point out the excellent choice the artist made, Alex, in not showing impact, but the drama of showing right before impact, right? Yeah, we're taught in drawing action that you don't show, the fist hitting the face or the swords clashing. You show right before or right after, because both of those events imply the action, and we can always imagine a lot more vividly than what somebody else shows. So it's a subtle observation, but it's definitely true. I notice here that something is absent that our fearless editor-in-chief, Roland Mann, has started to want to implement, and that is the infamous and famous and much loved and much talked about taglines. Remember taglines?
Oh, yeah.
Spidey's biggest enemy. Here we go. Perfect example with this Sirens one. Only true love can stop Jeff Delmer from turning into a zombie. Look at that. So that, I actually, and then his talk balloon, of course, but I actually think this is a cool way to bring people to the book. What do you guys think? Opinions on that? Barb, we'll start with you. What do you think about taglines?
This was the huge thing that was in all the comic books way back when, and it seemed like for some reason or another it fell out of favor, and with the big two especially, and they started just going with the drama and the title, and we got into a discussion in one of our think tanks and said, why did that fall out of favor? Roland always liked it. And I'm like, you know what? I guess I never noticed. It is something that draws attention to the cover. You can kind of get an idea of what's inside. And so we decided to go retro, starting at a certain point in our comic books very recently, obviously with Sirens, and start doing the blurbs on the front again.
I think that works very well. I like that. There's something
I do too.
Not only vintage about it, but there's something compelling about it. First of all, it keeps the viewer on the image longer because they have to read. right? They can't just glance at it and go, oh, I like it or don't like it. They are at least going to read and go, I wonder what that says. So you get two chances to capture their attention. Rob, what about you? What are your feelings on taglines on a cover?
Well, that was my cover that you showed there with the tagline on it, that one there, and I was asked whether that would bother me or whether I liked them or not. I agree that it actually brings more attention to the cover. It gives that it goes beyond just the image itself. Just having the words there draws your attention to it. You want to stop and read it.
Yes.
So yeah, even just seeing that there's words on there. Well, what are those? What are they talking about there?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And then of course zombie down here at the bottom. Zombies are pretty popular, and that kind of emphasizes. There's a zombie on the cover, but it makes it stand out that this book is about zombies.
Yeah, the lettering of the zombie too is like stereotypical
classic.
Zombie lettering.
It's so perfect.
Absolutely,
so
yeah. As is the sirens part up the top. Yeah.
Yes, and just for everybody's edification, those are Rob Davis's pencils and my inks and colors on this.
Yeah,
beautiful. Rory, give us your take on taglines on covers of comic books.
I like it. I'm for it. I think it's like a truncated elevator pitch.
Yeah,
that's a good way to look at it.
It gets you in the story before you even bought it, so you're already partially invested.
That's excellent.
There you go.
And I love the. I always think of like those old pulp covers. I love that. And like I said, like the action or the pose, but there's always that little bit of something on there. Stay away from loose women,
Yes. This one is Peter Clinton pencils and my inks and colors.
Very nice.
Yeah,
very nice on all counts. There's also a subtle art to the lettering of taglines.
Yes.
The choices of font or typeface and what to emphasize. Do you go initial caps? Do you go all caps? Do you focus on one particular word, like the word zombie in the previous cover, to blow it up larger? And that's also a talent. That everything about that tagline and everything about the cover, just in general, from the title all the way down to the tagline, works tremendously well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of those situations where everything just fell into place. And I would pick it up to flip through it just based on that right there. If the caption wasn't there and if the talk bubble wasn't there, I might not pick it up.
And the poor guy going, heaven help me, I can't resist.
I know. It's so good.
To be honest.
People go, oh, that's cheesy. I don't care. It works. It's a comic book cover with a zombie. I mean, come on. You've got to have that. So
this one actually got me. This is one of the more recent titles. And you have a stack of comics or graphic novels, and in order as you got them. I actually put this one on the top and had to go with that.
Excellent.
It's just too good. Yeah, it's too good. But as we scroll through,
it's kind of
and that's posed, and there's a bit of action in his reaction to what he's seeing. So you have, but I would categorize this as pretty much a posed cover.
Yeah,
but again,
I tend to do that. Yeah, I tend
to
do those kind of covers.
Mm-hmm.
I do too, Rob.
There's a hint of motion in it.
Yes.
You can tell because the tie is
and the zombies back. Reaching too. The zombies reaching toward him. So there's the implication of some motion going on. Yeah,
right. And his tie is flapping back as he's making a move forward.
Mm-hmm. I can't resist.
This one's obviously this is a posed cover.
Post cover.
Yeah, and this has got the classical big head looming in the background.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
type of thing going.
I was looking at other like D&D covers are always great, but I love that large face, that large head in the background.
Yes.
Agreed.
That's a classic convention from comic book artists. We like to. I think for me, it was an influence from being a teenager and seeing the Star Wars poster with Darth Vader's helmet in the background. That stuck with me so vividly and for so long that I was, okay, you've got to put the villain in the background really big, and then you put the, the heroic characters in the fore. So, but it's kind of a collage, kind of a movie poster posed collage though there. So it harkens to those days. Again, with the tag, which works, and nice colors, powerful contrast with the colors on that. It's a good one. Yeah. All about that one. You colored that one, right, Barb?
I did.
You did. Good job. You're new to the coloring world.
I am. I've only been doing it for a couple of years. I've been inking for 30 plus years. And when I hit 60, I decided I better start learning to write in color to push the envelope.
Look at that. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Well, you've seen so many pages that you absorbed it, and it's coming back out. A lot of people have
what you do works.
Learn through osmosis.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take you from beginning to end here. So
let's go there. Oh wow, I recognize that. Those are pencils by your host, Dean Zachary. This was an assignment for a book that I hadn't read. I didn't know anything about it, and Roland asked, would you like to do a cover for this? Sure. So I did a little research and looked through the issue, and the work was great. It was stellar sci-fi stuff. There were no talk balloons though, so I didn't know what was happening. So again, I just chose what I thought were significant images for the plot based on seeing the entire issue beginning to end, just pictures only. And I wanted, yes, thank you. This is what I call a montage or a movie poster style. I wanted to anchor it. I'll often do this, and for those of you who want to try doing covers, sometimes if you're going to do a montage, it's good to anchor the image with a geometric shape. In this particular case, I chose a circle. That's a sun in the background against a star field. And I took various elements, the spaceship and the characters and hierarchy of size there, and the action of the figure running in the foreground. And I'll very often, you'll notice in my work, use explosions and debris. So this was a great chance to use a fun explosion.
That's true. Wow, yeah.
It's that explosion again harkens back to the original Star Wars trailer. If you haven't seen it, the one from 1977 that they ran on television, go watch it on YouTube. There is this explosion, and for those of us who were used to Star Trek and really serious, quiet sci-fi movies, seeing an explosion like that in space was really a big deal. It was like, wow, this is just cool. That's all those fragments flying around, and sparklers and everything just going. It was made an impression. So I try to duplicate that in the drawing. But so then we move to the inks here, which I believe this is Tommy, the never sleeping, the insomniac Tommy Flormonte, who has 2 brand new bionic eyes, I hear, after his surgery.
Yeah,
and
got night vision.
Yeah, he's got night vision now. He's got all the
cat eyes.
I think this is really cool to see how Dean's pencils get interpreted, because they can see how little sketchy there is in the explosion, and how they're interpreted into inks. So people who say, "Oh, you're just tracing," well,
no, really. There is an art to interpreting, especially
absolutely
looser pencils. In fact, people inkers, and you can comment on this too, Barb. Inkers who've worked with the same penciler for years tend to gain a second nature and understand what the penciler is implying. In fact, I've seen pages, for example, of long-term professionals that you would know their names if I said them out loud, that rough in things and let the inker finish some of the material.
Yeah, those are finishes.
Yeah. But this is wonderfully enhanced. It still looks like me. Barb can do that over my pencils, and Tommy can do that over my pencils. I'm learning to do that over my own pencils. Thankful to the iPad and the tricks there. This is a gorgeous interpretation. I think Mickey did this, right? Mickey Clausen.
Yes, yes. And you can see from beginning to end. Look at the difference of that. That is just a stunning interpretation into color.
Yeah.
Yeah, really it dramatically improves the impact. It really cranks up the volume on the impact of this piece to see it in color. And Mickey did a great job there with, an interesting star field, not just, the typical black with stars. But he did a great job. The colors really make it pop.
I think the sun is just, the job he did on the sun is just amazing.
That really makes it pop. It definitely does.
Well,
and that's what you really, really want on a cover, is you want to make it pop so that if you're walking by an entire row of comics that are on the little shelves, and you want your cover to jump out and bite you on the ass.
And then it's so backlit, just brings everything out toward you.
Yes,
so it makes you
really
stop
does.
and say, "Oh, what is this one?" and take it off and look at it.
Yeah, it really makes it pop. Any questions or comments on that, Rob? What's your thoughts on this? Do you like doing these sorts of collage movie poster style covers?
The first Twilight Grib cover I did is like that. It's got. I tried to do kind of a rip on that Star Wars, where Luke Skywalker's standing with his sword over his head, and the other people are around him, and I did something very similar to that with that. So floating heads are done a lot. I don't know. I haven't seen any of these that have. Yeah, we've got a floating head in this one off to the right.
There's a little floating head, down on the right. Yeah,
but those can be overdone. When we were doing the Star Trek stuff, it was nice to put a floating head in there to really pop the lightness on the cover. But the editor kept coming back. No, we got to stop doing those.
Stop doing the floating heads.
Yeah. So we had to start doing starship battles and other stuff too, or some sort of scene from inside the book.
Yeah, one last comment I'm going to make on this before we move on, and that is, be careful. I try to be very careful on hierarchy of size here. I don't want two elements to be too close to the same size because they'll compete.
Same scale,
so you'll notice that the floating head is very large in comparison to the mid-size figure in the very background, the alien, and then the running action figure in the foreground is even smaller. So I was careful with that. And then, it's always fun if you're doing a sci-fi cover to throw at least one spaceship and a space station in there. So, you got to do stuff like that. Rory, anything before we move on to the next one? Any comments, critiques?
I like the flow, the pattern your eyes follow from top to bottom. And just like you stop at each detail before moving on. And you don't even have to intend to do it. It's just that's the natural flow.
It creates kind of a spiral pattern that starts at the top left and then spirals around and comes in and into the center. I think it moves very well.
Yeah, and that's the thing about covers, really effective covers and logos, is to use geometric shapes.
It's almost golden ratio.
Yeah, what we've got here is we've got the circle, but we've also got a triangle underneath it with the spaceship. And if you really want an effective, a triangle is a very effective way to do it, and a circle or a spiral like that is another very effective. You got both of them in there, so you're hitting on all cylinders. Man.
Hitting on all cylinders. Nicholas Greer says, "Howdy, folks." Hey, Nicholas. Thanks for joining us tonight. So as we move on to the next one, what do we got here? Oh, Team Beetle. Wow, this is cool. This is, what would you guys say? This is posed, but collage, sort of a pose and a collage combined.
This is Peter Clinton's pencils, my inks, and who did the colors on this one? It wasn't I. It could have been no.
Was it Roberta, maybe?
It could have been Roberta, yeah.
Okay. But beautiful work all around. Again, the layout is wonderful. We come in at the top left, and we go down the edge of that curve. And, we go right to the head of the heroic standing figure. And then, my eye jumped right back up above him, over the shoulder to the villain. And then down to the kid in the front.
Yeah,
but
we've got a real slant in this that's slashing right across the page.
Right. And that's a bold move design-wise. A lot of times you don't want to divide a page like that. But the tension that it creates is actually striking.
Yeah, it's a little unsettling, so it catches the eye because it is unsettling.
Yeah.
Right.
I like all the I don't say half circles, but it's the same contour throughout.
Yes.
Between his tail and then like the ground he's standing on, and then the arms, and the way he's posed, it's very Atlas.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it gives this subconscious familiarity that makes you like, oh, okay, Marty, I can pick this up.
Yeah, that's an excellent observation. You almost have that subtle subconscious implication that we're seeing Atlas holding the world on his shoulders. So that's definitely there.
Wish Peter were here so he could tell us what he had,
what he was
doing.
Well, yeah, I just threw it up.
Was it on purpose? Were these things purposely done, or is it just a part of the whole? You know, a lot of times I will do one that'll just come off the top of my head, and it works perfectly. And others, you plan it out, like the first Twilight Grim one. That was planned. I planned exactly how I wanted that one to look. But sometimes you start sketching and you go, oh, that works. And if I move this item, it works even better. So, guys, I wonder, it's too bad he's not here to talk to us so we could find out whether all these little elements we're talking about were thought through, or whether it was
by seat of the pants.
whether it was by seat of the pants. Yeah.
Whether it was by, you know, he'd probably, if he were here, say something like, well, just had a lot of Guinness that night.
Yes.
I
did that.
Knowing him,
so that's how Peter would be. So we can just assume that that's the case. But no, it's beautifully done. And again, the colors, the contrast of the warm colors in the lower part and the cooler colors pushing back behind that very bright title. A colorist, folks, can make or break a good comic book cover.
Yeah.
And this is fantastic.
And that one
again,
leads
very
me
striking.
to the next one.
Okay. Ooh, moody, dark, and spooky.
Exactly. Very moody.
Who did this?
This was all the art on this was done by his artist over in, I can't even pronounce the name.
It's a foreign artist.
Yeah.
Okay.
Czerniowski.
Yeah, and I think Huergo is the colorist. So not only is there a lot of movement, you can see this really angry guy in the background who's about ready to whack him over the head with a pool cue, but you got the disdain on the main character's face.
Yes.
And you've got this moody color going on, which gives it a sense of danger.
Oh yeah.
And
you can smell the bar smoke.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
stale beer and sticky floor.
Yeah, it's like, this is boys, bar fight coming, boys. Do you have my back? This is the moment when you turn to your buddy and go, you got my back? Yeah, let's do this.
He's running out the door. Yeah.
This looks really, really well done. Again, I like to categorize this one as posed, yet implying action. It's certainly it's an encompassing shot. It's all in one shot. It's not a collage, certainly not. But it's a dramatic posed scene that implies an impending action, impending strike. But I like the subtle color here. I call this usually more of a cinematic palette than a comic book palette. What do you think?
It's almost monochromatic.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Yeah.
He seems like
all
he's picked
cool
out
colors.
two colors and stuck with them, with the blues and the ombres. So that works really well for me.
It's easy on the eyes.
Yeah. Oh, this looks familiar.
Yeah, you want to explain that one?
Yeah,
absolutely.
I love that cover.
This is Divinity #1. Barb asked me to do a cover, and so I took liberties, as I often do, and turned our heroes in Divinity into much more of a loaded for bear 90s, loaded for action pouches and gun belts.
I should have actually saved this for Divinity #3.
I know. But it was just too cool. And so there's the Chinook helicopter at the top, and then we've got everybody loaded with their guns and their ammo. And I wanted the feeling of motion with the standing figures. So again, what does Dean do? He throws in floating debris that's blown up by the blades of the helicopter. And yeah, I got a really good compliment from Kurtis on this, who said, "I can hear this. I can hear this shot." You know, looking at it,
I can feel the shot. I can feel
the chopper blades,
the rotor wash blowing debris in your face. Yeah, it feels great.
This is from my book Divinity, and that's Dean's pencils and my inks, and those are Mickey Clausen's colors on this. And as usual with Dean, we've got explosions in the background.
Explosions and debris and junk in the air and everything's happening. Yeah. And, you know, you'll rarely see a figure of mine, especially a female figure, standing and her hair is completely still. That's very rare. Usually I take that opportunity to have the hair blowing and, you know, any excuse for more action. But tell me your thoughts on this, Barb. What do you think? What works on this? What doesn't?
I picked this one because it's one of my favorite covers. I've got like 7 or 8 different Divinity color covers, but I only chose like 4 of them because they're so dynamic. You know, I could have filled the whole show with covers, but I like this one because there is drama, there's danger, there's action, there's motion, and there is a triumvirate. And you got this kind of diamond thing going on where you got the 3 people at the bottom and then the helicopter at the top. So you've got kind of this diamond thing going on here. And of course it all points down to Divinity in the center.
Yes. Totally intentional.
Okay, so I interpreted it right?
Yep, absolutely. Yep.
Rory?
You've seen enough of my work and enough of, you know, other artists' work to know what they're doing. What about you, Rory? Thoughts?
I love it. I love the color scheme most of all.
That's all. That's all Mickey.
That's all Mickey. Yeah.
It's just, she's a master. I didn't even want to touch it. I could have colored it, but I looked at this and it's like, I'm not up to this par. I need Mickey to color this one, so I handed it off.
It's good. When this, it's so dusky, and they just look so beat to hell. You're like, oh, that's been a long day.
Right?
Yeah.
That's another thing. That's another thing I suggest to artists who are drawing covers for action adventure books and superhero books. One of the things I do to make my covers more distinct is I will weather the characters, whether they are weathered in the story or not. I'll rip up their shirts, their clothes, I'll put bandages on their hands, you know. And again, what was nice about Barb's initial reaction was I was a little bit concerned that she'd say, well, Dean, you know, in the book, they're not bandaged up. He's not wearing a black t-shirt. She's not wearing that jacket. She's, you know, and so, you know, she just loved it right away. I was like, good. I snuck it past the writers.
And this is very common in comics, is that the outside doesn't always match what's going on the inside, but yet it draws you in. And I suppose you could call this a precursor, because that action is coming. Just not in issue number 2.
Is it bad that I can like price out that the knife is $80, that AR is $1,800, that Chinook is $10.2 million, that Springfield is $900?
Can you tell what she's carrying?
That's an AR, M4 AR.
Yeah, M4 AR. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, I heavily referenced all the weapons and always do. So, and Barb can vouch for the fact that I showed her a little sneak peek at the cover for Divinity number 3, and she liked it. So it's about 80% done, and that will be coming later this week.
Rob, what about you? Chinook is $500,000.
Oh yeah. Wow.
On sale.
On sale, yeah. We had to go all the way to Libya for it.
Yeah.
So, Rob, what are your thoughts, comments, critiques?
I like the fact that you've got the warm colors in the background, because warm colors tend to come forward. Now, Mickey did a great job on this. All the blues and such are in the front. So, but you've got that bright, explosive yellow in the background, and it just makes those characters just come forward. And instead of going with black on the helicopter, you've actually got red instead of the black. You've rendered the black on it as the inks as a reddish color, which makes it a part of the explosion. It's part of that monochromatic background. Mm-hmm. So it really makes those the characters in the front really pop very well.
Yeah,
I like that one page on the bottom with the signatures.
Mm-hmm. My only complaint about that is that this was chosen to be the Kickstarter exclusive edition, so I can't sell it at the shows because it's for
this
Kickstarter
particular cover,
only. Yeah, and I have
if you
three
mark it
covers.
up more, you can.
I have 3 covers for number 2, and the other 2 covers don't sell equally.
Huh. Yeah, you have to talk to Roland about that. Maybe, I don't know. Break a rule here and there.
This is the other cover.
Ooh, yeah.
Number 2, and this is
which I like that one too.
I like that one too.
There's 2 covers that I do sell, and this one outsells the other cover by twice over.
Yeah,
that's a powerful cover. I like the central
powerful
design.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you got the main character. Single main character on a cover is real powerful, and you've got the effect, the supernatural power that she wields. That's beautiful layout, design, and color choices. Everything's working.
No, this was penciled by Jeff Johnson, who is very much a pro.
Yeah, he is.
I used to work with him at Malibu, and I inked and colored this. So
he did a great job. Didn't he do Solitaire?
Yes, I did all of the issues of Solitaire with him. Actually, this was just meant to be a pinup, but Roland fell so in love with it. He goes, "I want to use this as a cover." I'm like, okay,
that's so good.
Fine.
Yeah, absolutely. So good. So good.
And,
Rory, what are your thoughts before we move on from this one?
I like it. I like the concentricness of it. Her hands kind of make a circle within a circle and then a tiny circle.
Yep. There's that geometric symbol again. Yeah,
that's right. And it's got the V's and the circle. Of course, like I said, Jeff is so good.
Yeah, he really is. He's
a
consummate pro.
Mm-hmm.
He should be working with us.
I wish he were.
Yeah, it'd be great. Rob, any other remarks before we?
Yeah, other than to point out those geometrics, they always are very successful, especially circles and a diamond works really well, and a triangle. If you use those in logos or on covers, it always seems to draw your eye in. It works very well.
There's a lot of geometric going on here. Mm-hmm. Even down to her necklace.
Down to her necklace. Yep. And the lighting is great here too. And lighting can really, again, just like color choices, lighting can make or break a cover. And it's so dramatic.
And that it's consistent because she's lit up by it, but her hands are out front and they're equally lit up by it. Like it's lit properly.
Yes.
Correct.
Yep.
I was really new to coloring when I did that. I really new. This is like 6 months in.
So that's worked so well. Yeah, you're a natural with the coloring.
Yeah, she is. Yep, I would agree.
Ooh, I really like this cover. The kaleidoscope-like effect of it almost looks like shattering stained glass.
Yeah, it does.
Behind him really works well. Again, single figure, standing, posed, ready for action. Almost the halo highlight behind his head. Again, subtly implying the glow behind. Sometimes you'll see icons with saints that have the halos behind their heads. So there's that subtle implication. Right. So very nice. Very well done. Barb, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I'm trying to... Covers by Aaron Humphreys and Phil Leon, John Martin and Mickey Clausen, Peter Clinton.
I think this is John's. I'm not sure.
Yeah, this looks like John Martin and
it's
Mickey
like John
Clausen.
Martin's work. Yeah.
And again, Mickey is an amazing colorist. I aspire to be like him someday. But just the sheer color, you're right. It's a stained glass window, which goes very well with the title, obviously. Friar, Rush.
Friar.
You get that churchy feeling behind it. And then this dichotomy of this violent guy with a sword. So it makes you curious. And,
yes.
And here's another thing that strikes me is that the background is super colorful. But he's all done in monochrome.
Yeah,
right.
He's all in grays.
And there's again that warm and blue. The warm is behind, which pushes that blue to the front.
Yeah. I'll make this observation here as well. If you have so much color in the background as we do, and it's almost like it's a kaleidoscope. It would not serve the character at all, whether that's accurately the colors of his costume or not, to go with any color, any edge lighting. A lot of people, I'm guilty of asking for edge lighting a lot, but in this case, edge lighting wouldn't necessarily have helped. It may have distracted because there's so much dramatic spray of color.
If he would have had color on him, he would have faded into the background.
Yeah.
And it would have been just too confusing for the eye.
A lot of folks have noticed that comic artists will put a holding line around a figure. That is, for many reasons, some of them practical, some of them aesthetic. But in this case, a holding line would have helped separate him. You may have been able to add a little color wash on him, but I like the way they chose to leave that alone.
What's a holding line?
It's a white line, usually a channel around a character. You'll see it primarily in cases like this, or in cases where there are groups of heroes, and we want the heroes, they're jumping forward, and we want them to separate from a very complicated background, whether it's a sci-fi background of a spaceship or an explosion scene or a complex city scene behind them. Sometimes you'll be overwhelmed by too much detail. And a lot of artists, instead of cranking down the detail a little bit, they'll create a white channel around the figures to help separate the figure from the background. It's an old trick.
It also eliminates any possible tangents that might happen with that. It helps separate the figure from the rest of it. In case anybody doesn't know what a tangent is, when something in the background hits a line on there that looks like it might carry into the figure. So you don't want that to happen. That breaks the whole flow of the image, or can. It doesn't always, but it can.
It can,
and
also
so you try to avoid them if you can.
You do.
But a holding line around it would eliminate any of that happening.
We were taught in art school too that a tangent, as Rob described accurately, will act as a magnet to the eye, so your eye keeps going back to the tangent rather than the overall content of the piece.
Right.
So you don't want that.
Occasionally you do. But sometimes it'll help your eye flow through it properly. But for the most part, tangents are to be avoided if at all possible.
If at all possible.
I wasn't even aware of them.
We do that in math too.
Until an editor found one in a drawing that I did, and he goes, "You need to eliminate that." And I went, "Well, eliminate the tangent." And I'm going, "What tangent? What are you talking about?" And then he pointed it out to me, and I went, "Oh!" And now I can't unsee them. I see them everywhere.
They're everywhere now.
Yeah.
A good example would be if there's a line in the background, say on a building, and the line runs right into the mouth line of a character that's slightly 3/4 side view. So, it just looks a little awkward. Your eye keeps going back. Why is the line of that window pane going right into the guy's mouth? Just a little too, you want to stay away from it.
So you can move it. The best is to move it just far enough away that it doesn't do that anymore.
Yeah.
I don't always catch them, but until I set it, it's best to set a piece of artwork aside and come back and look at it again later, or to reverse it and put it on a light table so that you can see through it. And then you go, oh, wow, there's all kinds of stuff going on here that doesn't need to be there. So there's all kinds of tricks you can use to catch that stuff.
Another thing I use is turn the image upside down.
Yeah.
When I'm drawing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. To try to get the proportions right, check for tangents, check for any irregularities. If I'm drawing a face, you want the left and right side of the face to be, similar, and you don't want, a melting face one side and the other.
Yeah, you don't want this going on. You don't want one eye above the other.
Exactly.
You don't want
one
that
eye
going
on,
on.
one low. Right.
Yeah,
you want symmetry. You want symmetry, and so to check symmetry on say faces or anything you're drawing, if you're drawing something technical like a car, which big secret here, folks, most artists hate drawing a car, mostly because they're mechanical objects that have to be drawn with mechanical precision, or people will go, that looks wrong, and they may not know why, but it just looks wrong.
Yeah.
And here we go with Cat and Mouse #1. One of the first images I did for Cat and Mouse, and I really had a great time with this. This was when we launched the book and really launched Silverline way back in the day, almost 6 years ago now. It's hard to believe.
Yeah, this is our flagship title that we launched with.
Mm-hmm. And remember, again, I wanted action pose, kind of blended with something you might see on a DVD cover, a movie poster. But I like the fact that I wanted Mouse to be swinging in on a line, and I wanted Cat to be crouched, like a cat. And I wanted to hint at both, action and destruction and New Orleans. So we have little cues for New Orleans, obviously the architecture in the background, the domino mask on the ground, the cast iron gate that's been destroyed by some great action, and
the French Quarter,
yeah.
There's a skeletal guy in front of the smoke.
Yes. Oh, we have a special guest, folks. We have a special guest. We want to say a great welcome to Quentin Bedwell. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. I just got off of work, so
I'm so glad you joined us. We're appreciating Silverline covers and going through each one by one and just describing either the content, the mechanical process, what we liked, what we didn't like. We're having a great time here. We're going to get to some of yours, as a matter of fact. I think we're coming around the corner. Yeah, you never know.
You came in just in time.
Yeah,
oh boy,
you sure did. But we're talking about this Cat and Mouse cover, and I was telling them I wanted to give visual cues for the setting. So there's a lot of New Orleans stuff in here. There's the architecture, the domino mask, the cast iron gate. There's a mysterious figure in the background, which for those of you who are familiar with New Orleans voodoo lore, that is a character named Baron Samedi, or Samedi, depending on how you pronounce that, who is part of the mythology of the voodoo tradition. And I wanted
know him pretty well.
I sort of added that I wanted a spooky aspect to be part of Cat and Mouse from the very beginning. When Roland and I were talking about it as a street crime thriller, I thought it would be fun to add a whole voodoo aspect and some slight supernatural powers to the villainess and make her like a voodoo priestess. And I really, to be quite honest, I was inspired quite a bit by Live and Let Die, and the voodoo priestess in that movie and the setting and so on. And so in a lot of my, Wubba can attest to this, in a lot of the research material and source material I sent him, and probably sent Barb as well. There's a lot of just shots from Live and Let Die of Jane Seymour in the solitaire outfit, and just all kinds of cool elements that I wanted to add to it. But that was a fun cover to do, and it's still one of my favorites. Barb, any observations, critiques?
I really enjoyed Kevin Gallagher's color schemes on this.
Yeah,
it gave you kind of a dusk type of feeling. And I don't know how many people have gone to New Orleans. I have, and all the fun happens after dark.
Yeah,
once is enough for a lifetime.
Yes, it really is. It's like an endless frat party, folks.
Yes,
it is.
It keeps on going, and like they always say, nothing good happens after midnight.
Yeah.
What about Quentin? Any observations, critiques, commentary?
Well, I love this cover because, number one, it is New Orleans, and it's obviously New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got some elements in here that, I mean, you know exactly where you are. I mean, you got the mask here, the little details like the mask there on the fence. This is, and especially like the that building there. What is that building? That is an actual building in New Orleans. I can't remember what it is, but
Royal. It's on Royal. Yeah.
Is it Royal or Bourbon?
Yeah, I've walked around that
corner.
Yeah.
It's at the corner of Royal, I believe.
That looks like the place where you get beignets. At the bottom, but
no,
I love this cover.
To draw that. Thank you. What about you, Rob? Critiques, commentary?
This one breaks a rule.
Okay, talk to me.
Breaks a rule. The character across the logo.
Yeah,
I love that.
It breaks the rule, but it does it in a way that works. You can't read mouse. You don't know for sure if that's the word mouse or not. But it could
be moose.
Moose. Yeah, it could be.
Cat and moose.
or muse. You don't see the O. You don't see the O at all. So did he just move the M over? So, but it does it in a way that really makes those characters pop toward the front. Again, this is a theme tonight. You've got that yellow, warm colored in the background, and the cool colors in the front, and it pushes them forward. Even though there's that lighter, bluer color in the background to give it the dusk feeling that it's got. The sun looks like it might be going down in the background because of the way the light comes through there. But that's a rule break. You should only maybe overlap part of a logo when you're doing something like that to kind of bring things forward. But that almost obliterates the logo completely. So it's breaking the rule, but it does it very, very well.
A bold move by our editor to allow that to go through on a debut book, a number one, right?
Yeah.
So,
and is this a variant or is this the prime cover?
This is the prime cover. This is the first book that the Silverline did. We didn't have variants at that point.
Yeah. This was the launch of the company.
I love the dynamic of it. I mean, when I look at this, the first thing that I see, my eyes go straight to her.
Yeah.
And then it goes down to him.
Yeah.
And then I start seeing the stuff around. Mostly it goes straight on down to the mask. Yeah. And then I start noticing all the other stuff. Because of the way this is colored, because he took the saturation out of the back. Or not the saturation, but he kind of took away a little bit of the black.
Right, exactly.
And faded it back there. Awesome. Awesome work.
Holes on the black.
I think it's powerful. I think it really hits that spot. But yeah, I mean, I see you wouldn't probably normally want to do that. It works so well. It works so well. And another thing too is, whenever you're doing these covers, sometimes these logos are so big, and I know you want them big so that people can see them and recognize them and everything. But man, when you can really blow these characters up to the size that these are, that's really impactful. Because a lot of times that logo will push everybody down, and it kind of shrinks them down.
Right.
But this is, I love this cover.
Thank you. Rory, comments before we
on? Love it. Love the New Orleans feel. And between the Baron there, the Fleur-de-Lis gate, and the statue of the angel in the background, you just get that graveyard feel.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, this is gonna be dark.
There's some spooky stuff that goes on in the first issue just right off the bat. So I had fun with this.
We're gonna do a real. Go ahead.
I was gonna say that New Orleans itself is kind of it's got the reputation of a party town and everything, like we were talking about. But if you really look at all the architecture and all that stuff, it kind of is like a creepy, spooky.
It's gothic. Yeah. It's got a gothic feel.
Very gothic. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
It has a uniform aesthetic.
Yep.
There's a reason, folks, that Disneyland chose their haunted mansion to be a New Orleans mansion. Yep. There's a reason that was the reason. Yep. The one in Florida is based more on a European, English Tudor style mansion, but the one in California is definitely New Orleans, and the surroundings are New Orleans inspired. So the spookiness.
And what a great ride.
What a great ride
that is.
Yeah.
And there's nothing
what a great 45.
There's nothing that quite has the smell of New Orleans, especially first thing in the morning. It's got that swampy smell with an overlaying lemon stuff that they spray on the streets every night. You get up in the morning,
the disinfectant, you mean?
Yeah, it's a disinfectant. It's lemon.
It's disinfectant. The last time that I went to New Orleans, and I was an adult, it was actually about 4 years ago. And we went to look at Bourbon Street because we hadn't been down Bourbon Street in, oh my goodness, it's been like years. I think I was probably 25 or something. And I could only get past the first quarter because the smell. Yeah. It smelled like like when you're at a fair and you walk out by the rides and you smell that smell.
Well, it was built on a swamp for one thing. It's so low. It's so low, and it's always got this kind of a little swampy smell underneath everything else. And then every night when they clean the streets, they spray it with this lemon disinfectant. And so the first thing in the morning, you're like hit with the swampy lemon. Okay.
Well, but the smell that makes up for that is Café Du Monde.
Oh, yes.
Have the coffee and
beignets. Chicory coffee and beignets.
Yeah, absolutely love it. And here we go. Wow.
This is a real classic throwback cover.
Yeah,
I think you got
set this up, Barb. Set this up for us, and I'll jump in. Go ahead.
I think this is a real classic throwback to old style comic book covers where you got the two main characters, you got two different fonts. It just reminds me of the Silver Age type of comic cover.
With the team ups,
the team up. That's intentionally what I was going for. Again, set in New Orleans. So I wanted to do something a little different than I'd done with visual cues for New Orleans that I'd done before. So
I didn't realize you did this cover.
Yeah, that's mine. The gas lamp there, and I wanted. It's actually being like struck by lightning. You can't really tell, but the colorist did a fantastic job, and I wanted these characters to be ready for action. And, rain. So once again, Dean does, things in the air, atmosphere, ash, floating, debris, some kind of leaves, embers, something, snow.
Anything to add a little more drama.
Yeah, snow or
more
visual texture.
But I had a great time with this, and they really they captured what I had in my mind, both the colorist and the inker. Who colored this? Do you know, Barb? Is this?
I do not.
I wonder if this is Roberta or Mickey, we should have looked that up. But they did just a fantastic job. The lighting is great. You've got some edge lighting here. Rain is not an easy. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah. Rain is not an easy thing to pull off in a comic book cover. Some people use the traditional color hold white line effect, but I wanted something a little more organic than that here. So what I tend to do is draw splash effects on surfaces so that I'm more implying the rain by the splashing itself. So they picked it up. They did a great interpretation here. Comments, critique. Let's go with Rob. Rob, anything?
Okay, this goes with the standard of having the cool colors in the background and the warmer colors in the front. You got that red in the lower right hand corner. You've got the yellow of the hair on the male character on the left. So that naturally tends to bring it forward, and the blue pushes everything back. So it works. She did a great job here using the standard, cool and warm colors to make things stand out. Nicely done.
Yeah, I thought she did a great job here. Quentin, comments?
I love the black work on Miss Fury's costume.
Yes.
Oh,
that is stellar work. And this is not a criticism, but this is just what I do, like with stuff like Rain. But see, that this is the problem. I'm not coloring much of my stuff anymore. The stuff that I do for Silverline. So usually, like when I do something for somebody, like a commission, I use like After Effects during the coloring process to do that.
Right.
And you getting this in here with the inks, that's good stuff, man, because that's really tough to do. The little raindrops and the water effects and stuff.
Right.
It's hard to sell that, and do it in such a way where it doesn't overpower anything.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the key is knowing what not to draw. You don't want to go crazy with it because then why are there little dots dancing all over everybody?
Right.
It's got to be just in the right spots.
Yeah, that's the trick with doing art is knowing what to leave out. You put in too much and it just muddies everything up. Yeah.
Rain is tricky.
Well, that's why I think it's a good idea to study other artists sometimes, is because some of these things are so subjective.
Yeah.
You need to see how somebody makes, and I've said it time and again. Sometimes you need to see how other artists make fire, or how other artists make raindrops on somebody. Because those things are, it's hard to draw stuff like that.
It is.
Barb, can you go back to that?
Yeah, I'm looking for it. Hang on. There we go.
There we go.
Was it intentional, or is it just pareidolia that the rain looks like a face, like an evil face?
It's
like eyes.
Oh yeah.
Okay. As I just out of the land.
It's actually a domino mask if you look at it very carefully. Again, domino mask.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, that's very good. I needed to get up close to see that. But
and here I thought Rory was hitting the psychedelics again.
No. Yeah, very good.
Yeah, I needed one more little cue besides the gas lamp, and so I said, "Wait a second, this will be
almost
weird."
Subliminal. That is almost subliminal. That's excellent.
I like it.
Right, they
It's
pulled
bearing
that
down.
off.
I'm going to
really
back
well.
up here a little bit on my cue here.
It's even got eyebrows.
That's good stuff right there.
That's so good. I love the Trump's covers.
There's floating heads.
This is the cover that I was shown whenever Roland said, "Hey, I want you to come onto this book," and he sent me the stuff over, and this was the first image that I saw, and I was like, "Holy moly! I agreed to this. I'm in trouble." this set the bar high. I was like, "Whoa, wait a minute!"
Yes.
This is powerful.
This is good.
Again, action cover. Again, superhero. It's not technically, but just for the purposes of discussion, a superhero team cover almost with floating heads and action and effects and everyone having to have the accurate costumes, hierarchy of size, separation of the figures, realistic action poses. It's all there. It's all dramatic and it's all eye-catching.
It's tough to pull off.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, this
really
was something
is.
George Perez seemed to do with uncanny ease.
Yes,
but, it is a lot harder to pull off than people realize.
Yeah,
to
get
put
so
that
many
characters on a cover and make them distinctive, and you understand what each of them is, and
you notice
it explodes.
Yeah. And they have space between them too. He's actually got some space in between them. You know, a lot of times they overlap them, and everybody's but he's actually got them all spread out, and it works.
It works very well. I'll say this too. Perez, his excellence in size hierarchy choices and how to actually fully render those group scenes that he was so famous for is one of the reasons a lot of us were intimidated to take on team books, because there was a certain skill set of people who could pull that off, and it takes a lot of work to pull that off, because you're drawing literally 2 to 3 times as much as a book that only has two leads, or obviously 1 lead, but 2 leads, maybe 3 leads. When you got a 7-person team or larger, that's a lot of work, and kudos to all those folks out there.
And you start cussing out the guy that created the costumes. Have all the bric-a-brac on them, and all the little weird stuff.
It's flair
that you have to draw.
It's flair.
Yeah. That's fine. That's fine if you're doing a solo book, but when you've got 10 characters and each costume's got all these little details that you have to put in, if you're in there drawing, you're cussing that guy that designed that. Because I tried. Yeah.
The metallic cover for Trumps is just outstanding.
Yeah, and that's the next one up, and that's right here. This is what I call a gimmick cover, because it was done in a metallic foil.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that always makes it a little bit more special.
Oh yeah. This was all the rage in the early 90s.
I got some.
Got some of those. I've got a Wildcats cover. It looks like this.
Yep.
But this is just really powerful. It works for the content. The idea of this whole book is so smart, to take the suits in card playing and turn them into warring noble factions, and turn it into a Shakespearean power play of royal houses fighting each other is just brilliant. And then take that out of the medieval world and throw it into a sci-fi world on top of that. So, kudos to Roland. He can write a few things. He's done some writing here and there.
Yeah,
but
maybe he'll go places one day.
One day. Yeah, I'll do something with that. No, but this is fantastic. Sometimes the gimmick elements of the cover can distract, but in this case, it does not. It actually works with it. Comments, Barb?
Whoops, did I lose it?
It ran off.
It ran off? All right, hang on. There you go.
There it goes.
I was looking at something else. Anyway, I really, really like the way that the colors, especially the guy at the bottom, is all very cool colors on the guy in the bottom, cool colors on the guy on the left. We get a little bit of warmer colors, but it's all transposed over this rich golden color, and it makes a very nice dichotomy. And then you've got the real red, bold lettering on Trumps that makes it just jump out.
It just jumps right out at you. Yeah.
And again, we have the classic diamond.
Diamond or an oval. Yeah.
Or oval. Yeah. We've got the geometry going in there again.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Who is the artist on this? I'm sorry. Who is the artist?
Thomas Hedgelin.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess this was the same person that did the previous cover, right, Barb?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
That's what I was looking at here. Here's the. Hang on.
It's really strong. When I read the book, I paid a lot of attention to the detail that he put into this, and
there's a current cover.
Yeah, there you go. And it's just again collage. the big head of the villain. We were
bad
talking about that
guy in the
earlier. Big
background,
head of the villain. Yeah. This, these collage covers work.
Very effective color. Yeah.
Very powerful.
Yeah.
Comments, Rory? Any comment, critique?
I like the collage covers. I like the like I said before, like the pulp covers. There's always like something different going on. You're getting more of the story. And I like how it usually when you have a collage cover, it's not everything that's in that story. It's extra too, so you're getting a little more out of it. You're getting more character development out of it in addition to what's in that issue.
Nikki Clausen submitted this one.
That's really nice.
So,
very nice.
You can spend more time with these.
Yeah, you spend more time. Notice the collage covers tend not to have taglines. Have you noticed this? The taglines tend to be with posed or action. The collage covers tend to just be art. And I think there's a subconscious messaging there that this is all you need because we're telling you what may be coming up in this issue and future issues. Just carefully look at all the art. It may just be the mechanical simplicity of, hey, it would be too crowded to put a tagline in here. So
you probably would on this particular one, especially
in this particular case. Yeah, but nice work. Very nice. Any other comments, Quentin? Anything you want to throw out about?
No, this is nice. It's got all my favorite characters of the Trumps too.
That's very cool.
I cannot wait. Well, on this cover, this is one that honestly I would love to print out huge and make a poster. This is poster worthy, art here.
It definitely is. It definitely is. Yeah,
without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Rory?
Barb, did you have any comments on this specific?
We've got this time we set the cool colors into the background and brought the warm colors kind of oozing out towards the front. We've got the purple in the back and then complete dichotomy with the orange and yellows to make it jump out. And the guy, our big head guy, with the monochrome face and the really, really warm, he really went hard on the warmth on the backside of his
headdress there.
Yes.
Yeah.
And again, all the characters are fairly distinct, so they don't get too muddled up. That's one thing that you find very hard to pull off. I've seen several covers where everybody's just a big mishmash, and you just looks like a pile of people. You can't tell.
No, they did a great job, and it's hard to see from where I am the size here, but there's no color, there's no outline here, no white outline separating anybody that I can see. It's
not at all.
Pure layered. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, Quentin, that one device that the artist can use when you have a crowded scene like this is to create a white channel or white outline around.
I always called it the trap. What is it called? What is the official term?
I always called it a white channel. That was just it was to hold it and to separate it from the background. The other advantage of it was if you wanted to pull those action figures out by themselves at another time and use them again, it was easier to crop them out.
It is.
Yeah,
because that a white channel.
I know. Usually, as an artist, you try to, if you've got like a darker background, you make the things in the foreground lighter. Or if you've got a darker character or a lot of stuff on them, then you try to make the background lighter. Whatever you can do to make the character separated. But sometimes you can't always do that, and that's where I use those.
Especially when you get something like when you have all the mutants, and they're all in the same outfits.
Yeah.
All matching colors, all matching. How do you
uniforms?
Yes, team uniforms. How do you separate all those guys out and make it look distinct?
Yeah. I know the purple and gold. X-Men, purple and gold.
Yeah, the uncanny. Yeah.
Or especially where they were wearing those old ugly yellow things.
Yeah, right.
Or you got that real detailed city background behind a character, and you just kind of need to give it a little bit of, relief around him. Just a little.
We were talking about this too, Quentin, and you've, I'm sure, faced this challenge as well. You got to know what not to draw. If you got a city and you got a character, maybe fade those buildings about halfway down.
Right.
You don't have to draw every window. You just draw the windows at the top and just let it go into shape. Because people know what a building looks like. You don't have to draw it all the way to the ground.
Right.
But artists, as you know, when we're young and breaking in, we don't want people to think we're lazy and we're cutting corners. So we want to draw every little detail to prove.
Even though we are.
Yeah.
I know.
Look, you guys are expensive, and I want to get my money's worth out of you.
I want every single window.
Every window.
I want people in those windows cooking dinner.
That's where Photoshop comes in. You
That's where Photoshop comes in.
Paste those puppies in.
Okay, Robert. Rob, are you ready now? Are you ready?
There we go, Rob.
All right.
Ready? Here we go.
Oh, my favorite. My favorite.
Love this one.
That's cool.
I love this cover.
You want to tell us about this one?
Talk about this cover, Rob.
This is from Twilight Grimm #1, and it's
Lots of bodies.
Yeah, of course. It's vampires, kind of trying to overwhelm this vampire hunter, vampire killer in the background, Twilight Grimm, and nicely he's put that circle around him, which could be a moon. With vampires, it's got to be the moon. It couldn't be the sun,
right?
And yet, every one of those characters is distinctive. And the real kicker for me is the one who's turned looking at us.
That one really
cool.
sells it.
Yep.
That is very cool.
And
that guy, he's looking at the reader going, "You."
Yeah. And I placed a thicker line around him to pop him out.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that as an inker, that in order to get things in the foreground to really stand out more, you put a thicker line around them. And as it goes back, you put a thinner line around them. That gives it kind of an atmospheric perspective. It makes it kind of fade into the background. And that really works on that, particularly on that one. But that character turned looking at the reader, you're going, oh, wait. He's coming for me now.
Yeah,
he's not going for Twilight. He's coming to get me. So
it's really cool.
Or he's going. It's just that, and every one of those characters is very distinctive, and each has his own pose. And
what are their names?
Well, that would be good. Yeah.
Well, did you as you were drawing this though? Obviously. Was it in the
Well,
script?
now, I didn't draw this. Peter Clinton drew this. So.
Clinton drew this. Okay.
Clinton drew this. Yeah. But this is my... I liked his cover better than the one I did for the book. So, I that's why I picked this one and put it up. This is really good. Yeah. But that's just excellent work by Peter. And he just did a stellar job. And the way it just kind of draws you in, that character that in lower right, and then it just pulls you right up to
there it is.
Twilight Grimm in color. And again, here this is issue 2, so it's not as egregious as it was on Cat and Mouse. But that character covers most of the logo, and that's usually a no-no. You don't want to
interfering with the logo.
Yeah, but you don't normally want to do that. But that again, it works beautifully here. Like it did on the Cat and Mouse one. But yeah, that whole the real kicker here is that guy turned looking at you. That makes this cover for me.
Yeah, for me, it obviously was inspired as Pete was in the bar having the third pint,
drawing it out on a napkin,
getting a little mouthy, and one guy turned to him, and that's what inspired that.
He's
so
like,
I think if I have one complaint about this cover, and I really enjoyed inking it, but I think I regret the loss of the moon in the background on the cover here, because I really like the way that he was framed here.
Yeah.
And it really brought attention. It almost puts a halo around him, like he's the good guy. He's being deified by this circle. And then we could kind of lose it in the.
If you did the other one as a print, I would want that. That's really cool.
I have to say though about this, what I like about this, and some of my favorite pieces of art is they look good at every stage. Like this looks good in the pencils.
Yeah.
It looks good in the inks.
Yep.
And it looks good in the color. And not a single one of those processes have to be there to make it look good. It looks good from start to finish. You know, a lot of times, sometimes you rely on the inker or rely on the colorist, you know, when something's not working.
Yeah, nobody half-assed anything here.
Yeah, and they can carry it, you know, but this thing is good, like from the
it
start.
ups everybody's game too when you get a good basis like this particular drawing. It just elevates everyone's game that comes to work on it. So that's why I picked this one, because it's a stellar piece of work by Peter in this case.
Quentin, you weren't here when we did the Beyond the Stars. We had a pencil, ink, and color. Did you want a quick peek at it?
Yeah, let me see it.
All right,
the shirt sells me on that one.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing this one in the chat. I love this one.
Thank you.
And there's the inks.
Man, your composition here, Dean, is killer.
Yeah, we talked about that. It is. It's stellar piece.
Yeah.
Again,
and the coloring job. Who colored this?
Yeah,
Mickey Clausen.
Mickey did this.
He's just such a master.
Yeah,
I want to grow out of the park.
I want to grow up to be Mickey.
Mickey. Oh, he just did a tremendous job. He took that work and just made it shine. And Tommy did a great job on the inks as well on that. So
the Watch Me Sparkle shirt from that Twilight Rim, that's really what got me.
Oh, the watch.
We got a booty sticking out here.
We we do. This is
that's money shot.
The money shot. That's
right.
That's why I picked this one. We like, okay, we got the money shot here.
Yeah. This was sort of the tease of the character of Demon that's in the books, and I wanted to show him without really showing him, so I went with the backlit idea in a graveyard, which again, along with the spookiness we discussed earlier, graveyards tend to be evocative of New Orleans as well. So I set it in the graveyard, and I had the character sort of turning and looking at him as if he's going to pounce on them, attack them. So again, a presumed villain based on his physical appearance. And that's kind of the hook of the character anyway, is he's this mild-mannered character who just looks like a demonic being, you know. So you know anything about the demon character, he's kind of funny in that way. But this was very, very well inked to color. You inked this, didn't you, Barb? This is you.
Yep.
Yeah, did a great job with the ink.
And here's a case where you overlap the logo, but not by too much. You can still read the logo, but you've got that. You're overlapping it to help bring those characters further forward. This follows the rule.
Kevin colored this, and he
Kevin
did a really great job of highlighting certain things.
He did indeed, did he not? I think that was a wink and a nod to me, like, I saw this, so I'm just going to make sure everybody sees this, you know. So it's pretty funny. Any commentary, anything from you guys on this? How could it have been better? Because I see something missing that I think would be really cool. We talked about it earlier. Anyone want to take a stab at what's missing? There's no tagline, people. There's no tagline.
Yeah,
a tagline would work on this one.
Yeah, especially down at the bottom. Especially down at the bottom.
Down at the
right
bottom,
at the bottom.
A new
because
foe? Question mark.
That's a triangle. That's a triangle.
Yeah, very much a
we've got
triangle.
going on here.
Yes,
which is a very effective.
Our friend.
Thank you. Yeah, friend or foe would have been good, or something like, "Is this the end of Cat and Mouse?" You know, that kind of.
At issue
sort of
2,
doom.
come on.
Issue 2, you know,
Well, this was long before we made the decision to start adding taglines, but yes, it would have benefited greatly from a tagline.
Yeah, I think it would have in this case. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but that turned out great. It's fun to do.
I like the way this works because in your trying to mystify the demon character, you've got him really dark, and he the contrast there is what I'm getting at, like the foreground characters, and then you've got him that's really dark, that he kind of brings them out, brings them forward, and then you've got all the lighter lines in the background there.
Atmospheric,
I love the cool colors.
Just right.
Atmospheric perspective. Yep.
And the colorist did a great job of actually going farther with what you were already headed toward. So really good.
Yeah, dark on dark pop out.
Yep. Yeah. And he had a great instinct.
That's a trick.
Atmosphere.
That's a trick, but it works here.
Yeah, a lot of highlights. Low lights and highlights.
Low lights as highlights.
We've only got one. We've only got one more cover, but it's another Dean cover. So, and we are getting towards the end. So
we're getting to. I was just about to say we're getting towards the end. So
we are.
Let's do that and discuss. Oh yeah, another cat and mouse, number 3.
Posed cover. Cover. Yep.
Posed.
But
cover.
there's that big head in the background.
Big head.
Big head in the background. There's a lantern up there. There's again mysterious suggestion of the nefarious
White channel.
Now,
nature.
I have a story about this one. So this is why I chose this one. Not because it was the best cover out there or anything like that, but because I misinterpreted this cover.
Oh.
Yes. So apparently I found out after I inked it, this background back there, it was not trees. It was supposed to be hanging Spanish moss.
Oh.
I couldn't tell the difference.
I didn't even notice.
So I had all these pine trees in the back, and I was like, oh well.
Douglas fir. Where are we in Oregon?
No biggie.
What
no
a
biggie
fail.
at all. It was all covered. It was covered up by the logo anyway. The big point of this cover, I believe, was the martial arts character in the foreground there. The ninja girl was probably playing a prominent role in this particular chapter of the story. So the focus was on her. So again, with the colors and the side lighting, this works out very well. It's got a good 3D layering effect.
I see what you mean now about the white channel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There's that channel around each of the characters. Yeah.
It's very different. Yeah.
Then that's again an old device. Go ahead, Barb.
You notice that she's got her hands in a pyramid, and the whole thing is also a pyramid. So
again,
it's a small pyramid leads to a big pyramid to a bigger pyramid, and these weird trees in the back.
Man, that's some of that MK Ultra stuff right there. Subliminal messages, yeah.
Subliminal, man. It's
talking to us. What are you telling us, Dean? What are you telling us to do?
Secrets, man. All the secrets.
Yeah.
Illuminati. I knew it.
Observations. What could we add here? I'm going to throw it out there again. What could we add?
Well, I wasn't terribly thrilled with the green and all the green in the background. I think that kind of diluted.
I almost didn't see the character. Almost didn't see the character because of that green. So I would tend to agree. That's the weakest point of that particular cover. Yeah.
The only thing I would say too is I think a tagline would have helped this cover as well.
You would have to explain something, because you don't really know what's going on.
You don't really know what's going on. So like, who comes between cat and mouse or something like that, just to sort of add to the drama. Is this a new romantic interest? Is it a villain?
Just put friend or foe on every cover.
Friend or foe on every. Cat and mouse becomes a trio? ? It's just. So I think
the only thing that I question is, it looks great, but the only thing I question is over on the cat character. Well, I'll just say to the left, it seems like the black is muted a little more than on the right. Is there a reason for that, or is it just something that happened?
Something the colorist chose to do for whatever reason.
Maybe he's got. You know what? I see why. Because you've got maybe some light coming from that direction, and maybe that's what they were doing, is kind of like an atmospheric type thing.
Yeah, it could have been because you see that lantern.
But I mean, it doesn't hurt it at all. I was just wondering if there was something may have been missing or something. I think it looks great because the main thing is it does what it sets out to do. Like you said, this character being in the forefront, and then you have in the character, as they go back, and you have your guy covered up in the back who you don't really want to reveal. So I think it all works. I don't know about those fir trees in the back, though. I mean, Louisiana's got pines. I don't know about
Well,
that.
I'm
just kidding. I didn't even notice those until you pointed it out.
Well, the point I was going to make with that is that sometimes, you make mistakes and you're like, oh my God, nobody else notices.
No.
You just go with it. Just go with the
flaws. You see every single little flaw. But the people
absolutely.
reading the book go, "Oh, that's great," and you go, "Yeah, but there's a problem with."
Yeah, that was supposed to be Spanish moss hanging from trees.
I don't make flaws. My writing is immaculate.
As we well know. I want to thank you, Quentin, for joining us tonight. We appreciate it. And you're always invited to join us. And we always like to close our Wednesday Wham the same way. As we say goodnight, we always like to say, make mine
Silverline.
Hi, my name is Sergio Cariello, and make mine Silverline.